Welcome, everyone, to Friday's Inspiration, TGIF. We have a special broadcast today. I apologize for being late. As you can see, it was worth the wait. So today we are talking about the dead. We have Halloween just on the cusp here, and we are going to be talking about 5 of the most common questions that I get asked about the dead. So welcome, everyone. I'd love to hear where you're all calling in from. And if you have any questions about this particular topic today, we're going to be doing a MediClearing on, going to be clearing dead people today. We're going to be clearing out the ways that dead people, discarnate beings, affect us sometimes on a daily basis. So, and we're also here on a set that is part of a party that we're going to be having tonight, a Halloween party here at my daughter's house. And so they have this amazing setup, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So too many people are taking things seriously these days. So hopefully you can have a little fun with me today, and while we talk about the dead people. All right. So, first off, the very first question, I do have some notes. The very first question that people often ask is, can the dead hear me? So, oftentimes when we have a loved one that crosses over, we wonder if we can speak with them. Can they hear me? That would be the second question, is can I communicate with them? So the very first question is, can the dead hear me? The answer is absolutely yes. Thanks, Jalpa. The answer is absolutely yes. They can hear you. And the second question, can I communicate with them? Absolutely. However, it's going to depend on a few things. One is how sensitive you are to information that comes in. This is one of the reasons why I stress over and over the need to be fully 100% in your body. When you're in your body 100%, then you can hear the messages that come in, those subtle nigglings that are trying to communicate with you. So that would be the first thing, is if you're sensitive enough, you'll be able to hear them. And then the second part of can I communicate with them has to do with the level that they have ascended to. So if they have ascended to a high enough level, their communication is going to be encouraging and supportive, and it's going to be helpful. These are the kinds of guides that we want in our life after someone crosses over. I have about 3 that I know of that have crossed over, and they are now my guides. And they're not my parents, by the way, interestingly enough. Neither of my parents are my spirit guides now. So when someone crosses over, they ascend to different levels based on the life that they were living, the life that they were leading on the planet when they died, because they're basically continuing the life that they had without a body. So they're not going to be in physical pain, but if they were in a lot of emotional pain before they crossed over, they're going to be in a great deal of emotional pain continuing, unless they can have someone like myself who can help them ascend to those higher levels. So the scale that I've been given goes from a -30 ascension to a +30 ascension. So a -30 would be someone like Hitler. Hitler is at a -30. At a +30, someone like Jesus or Buddha would be at a +30. So if someone is communicating with you who has crossed over and they're at a -30, you can imagine the kinds of communication or thoughts that will come into your head as they start to or try to communicate with you. It won't be supportive. It might be even scary. It could be depressing. It could be sad. It could be angry, depending on what kind of life they were leading before they died, before they crossed over. So that's really important to know. If someone crossed over and they were very angry or very depressed, and then they cross over and then they start channeling through you, or they start even, you don't have to have someone channeling through you to be able to affect you in a negative way. They could just be in the outer layers of your aura. So the best thing to do is to be able to help them to ascend so that they can communicate with you on a much higher and more supportive level. The third question is, can they hurt me? So I would say there's degrees of hurt and harm and injure. If you consider that someone could be constantly in your ear, saying negative things, that could be some kind of degrees of continued harm, abuse, etc. But I think when someone asks me that question, they're asking more, can someone physically harm me? Well, I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to me, and I'll let you decide. This is, I can speak from my personal experience on this. Now, I have heard of other people that have woken up with bite marks, and this was not from a physical person. So I'm not saying that they can't hurt you. I don't have a personal experience with that, but I will share with you what I do have. And this happened after a very, very close friend of mine, their ex-wife died. And she always had this secret hatred towards me. And so when she crossed over, she came at me with a vengeance. And so how I experienced that in my body is in my back, in the back of my heart, where it was like she just put claws in the back of my heart, the back, in my back. And it was very, very painful, very painful. And it took me a while to get that energy out. And so that was a very physical feeling that I felt in my body. But I also know, and this is one very, very important thing that you need to remember, is that we have seniority over these spirit beings because we have a body and they don't. And so now that we know how to work with these energies and release discarnate beings from our bodies, from our energy field, that they don't have to affect us on an ongoing basis. So that's the good news. The fourth question: are the dead suffering? So this is a really big question that people often wonder, because they think, did my loved one go to hell? Are they in purgatory? Like, what's happening with them? Are they suffering? Especially if they did not lead a very good life. People would be wondering, where they are sort of on the spiritual realm. Are they suffering? And so that sort of depends. Now, when I think of the words purgatory and hell, I think of the energies that people are in after they cross over and they're in one of those lower dimensions. If someone is in a -30, they are going to be experiencing a great deal of discomfort and not at ease in any way. And so I think that's, when I hear the words purgatory or hell, those are the energetic levels that I would say relates to. Now, people don't physically go to a place where there's actual fire. Those are things that have been created, concepts that have been created by men to scare and control people. When you cross over, you leave your body, but you still are holding on to a lot of the emotional energies that you had in your lifetime. So they may not be in physical pain anymore, like if they were, dying of cancer or some really, I don't know, some kind of a painful illness, that they would no longer be in physical pain, but they could be in a lot of emotional pain. And this is the beauty of the last question, which is, can we help the dead end their suffering? And the answer is a resounding yes, 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 yes. So if you have a loved one that has crossed over and you want to help them to ascend to a higher level where they're no longer suffering, where they're not in emotional pain, they're no longer angry or sad or depressed, and then they can ascend to a higher level. That's what we're going to do today. I want you to think of someone that has crossed over and you're not sure, and I'm going to help you help them to ascend. So I'd love to hear what your questions are today. And I didn't bring my glasses. Hopefully I can see with these silly lashes on. We're just having a lot of fun here today. So I'm curious if you have any questions about the dead, and we'd love to entertain what those are. So if you have any questions about the costume, you can private message me. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm having fun. I hope you guys have fun. I grew up without Halloween. So I think this is the first time that I've actually enjoyed dressing up. Before, I just felt silly. I as a Jehovah's Witness, I couldn't go to Halloween. As a matter of fact, it was really a painful, very painful experience every year where I would go to school. Everyone in the school would be dressed up in their costumes, except me and my brother. And we had to endure this until lunchtime. Then we had to go wait for my mom to pick us up so that they could all have their Halloween parade. Every year, that was so painful. I hated it. And so after I left the Jehovah's Witness, the witnesses, and I became an adult, I tried doing Halloween a few times and I just felt silly. I just felt so silly. I think this is the first year, because I don't care what people think and I'm just having fun, that I'm really enjoying this. So hopefully you will have a lot of fun this Halloween as well. All right. The best surprise ever. This is just following on the heels of the last Friday's inspiration that I did, all about courage, having courage. So this takes a lot of courage, right? Okay, great. Well, I didn't do it just for today. We're having a party tonight, and so I am preparing early. And I thought, why not? Okay, let's see. Here's a great question. Can I be haunted are there ghosts following me at all times? Well, there could potentially be. People refer to discarnate beings, I think, as ghosts. And there's been a lot of movies and propaganda about how the dead can scare people. I think it's mostly because we don't understand. We don't understand what happens when people die, that when dead people, when they die, that it can be scary because we don't understand. And so a lot of times when you might see something move or the lights go on, I'll share a very interesting experience I had, my first experience. But these things can scare you. So yes, ghosts can be following you in the sense that these are dead people, but these are dead people that haven't ascended. Sometimes they don't even know they've died. So they are here on these lower planes. And so in order to ascend, they start channeling through people so that they can continue to work on their evolutionary experience so that they can ascend. However, we can accelerate that process, and you don't have to be scared about this. So we're not asking, Bush, we're not asking any or answering any specific questions. The question is, do I have any control beings in my energy field? That's a great question to bring on Tuesday, where we answer specific questions that are related to you and your challenges in life. Today, we're entertaining questions that relate to the topic we're talking about, and we're going to be doing a massive MediClearing on dead people that may potentially be in your life, and how to continue to not be affected by them. So I wanted to share an experience that I had. This was my first experience with, I'll say, a dead person. And the one that I just shared about the woman that was in my back was my second experience. But my first experience was, I'm trying to think of how many years ago it was. Maybe about 8 to 10 years ago. And I was living in my motorhome, and I wore headphones and was playing the music. So this is my way of being able to play the music loud without disturbing the neighbors. So I was playing the music, and it was a song by Rihanna. I was listening to the music, dancing, all by candlelight. There were no lights on. And then all of a sudden, the lights came on. And I thought, oh no, who's here? And so I sat down, because it did make me a little nervous. It made me a little nervous that I could just tell that this was highly unusual, that my lights would come on. And so I wanted to know who was here. So I sat down and I was asking, is it any of my grandparents? And I went through all this big old long list of people that had crossed over, and it was none of them. And then the face came into my mind of someone that I knew when I was about 12. And this was a person who became a Jehovah's Witness. He was in his 20s. I think he was 27 at the time. Super handsome, construction worker, blonde, curly hair, the biggest, brightest smile you could ever imagine. When he walked into a room, the whole room would light up. And he was the first person in my life that showed me what unconditional love was all about. I grew up in a family where my father was an alcoholic. He was sexually abusive. And so what a contrast to be able to have and experience the energy of someone who was unconditionally loving. And I remember that I would sit on his lap when we were having conversations, with the family, and it just felt so safe. It felt so incredible to experience this level of unconditional love, which was foreign in my life growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, with an abusive mother and an alcoholic father who was not a Jehovah's Witness. And so when his picture came to mind, I realized that he had crossed over when he was in a head-on collision. He was on a road trip, and anyway, he was in a head-on collision, and so he was the one who was coming to mind. And it just immediately brought me to tears. He shared with me that he did not die immediately, that it took him several hours to die, and that he was basically in my life now. Like just a day or so before this, I had cleared massive amounts of energy in my heart, these beings that were very guarding and not helpful. And so now the following day, this happens, and he shows up to tell me that he has been with me ever since he had crossed over, as a guide, as a support. And he's been guiding me to be able to find true unconditional love. So he is one of my, it's windy here, the whole set is blowing. He is one of my mentors now, and support and guide, spirit guide that is always with me. And the interesting thing is that when I was done crying and feeling all of this energy, I went back to putting the headphones on, and the song that I was listening to when that happened was by Rihanna. That song, I'm not a good singer, but I'll do my best. That song by Rihanna that says, "Where have you been all my life? Uh-uh, uh-uh, I've, where have you been all my life?" That was the song. Where have you been all my life? And so this is the song that showed up when all of this experience happened, which sort of, cemented the whole thing. And it was so profound, and it was such a blessing, so that every time I would hear that song, it was a reminder that he was nearby. Before I met the last partner that I was with, this song would sometimes play 3 and 4 times a day. And he was just reminding me that, he was there guiding me and so forth. So it's been a great journey with my support guide, Barry, Barry Billings. So anyway, let's see if you guys have more questions before we go into our clearing. Here's one. I have felt them climb into bed at night on a couple of occasions. Why do they try to get close to us like that? Well, you have to remember, one, they don't have a body anymore. They're curious. Maybe they're bored. And if they have, some sort of perversions that they had in this lifetime that they brought into the afterlife, that could be part of what they're also doing in bed, right? So, and you tell them to leave. And so do they just go? That's great if they can do that. If they just go because you say so, right? Remember, we have a body. They don't. We have seniority. We can command. We can place commands and let them know that they're not welcome if they're causing harm, if they're causing trouble. And I'm going to also share and show you how we can clear these energies so that they don't bother us. Can your dead father watch you have sex? Yes, of course. They can see everything that's going on. So that might seem a little disturbing. And if they have ascended, I don't really see it as an issue, because one, when they get into these higher realms of ascension, they don't have judgments. They don't have, they're not judging what we're doing. They don't have an opinion about what we're doing. They just might be watching because they're bored. I don't know. But it might seem a little awkward to know that, right? Okay. They leave the bed, but can they still hang out in the room? They could, but so I'm going to show you something today, though, that is going to help all of you if you can do this, that it will help them not only leave your energy field, but also we're going to help them ascend so that either they won't have any interest in what you're doing if it's personal, or you can even ask them, we want to be in private, that it's not going to be a problem. Like, I think you only think it's a problem if you can feel some kind of perverted energy along with it, Okay, here's another one. I often hear some voices that swear at me, and I have visions of scary faces. Could it be discarnate beings? Yes, I just wanted to check if those in particular were. So yes, those are voices from the dead, definitely. And, sometimes I hear them, like if you have something going on in the background, like maybe a washing machine or, something going on, that they can kind of, I don't know, manipulate the frequencies so that it sounds like music. I hear that a lot. I hear music when there's not really any music, and it's just subtle enough that you can hear it, but it's, if you really listen, it kind of just goes away, and then you realize, oh, that's the washing machine. But if you kind of just are not quite paying attention to it, it can sound like music. Okay, so Vidita, this would be a great thing to bring on Tuesday when we answer specific questions and challenges that you might be dealing with. So come back on Tuesday and post your question and we'll answer it there. So today we're just talking about dead people today and and how that affects us and what we can do about it. So let's go ahead. I don't see any more questions related to our topic. So we are going to go ahead and do a MediClearing today on releasing discarnate beings. So in review, let me just go back and I'm going to review those questions, the 5 questions, the 5 things you need to know about the dead. So one is, can they hear me? The answer is yes. Can I communicate with them? The answer is also yes. But one, depending on your level of sensitivity to hearing incoming messages, and 2, their level of ascension is going to affect the kinds of communication you will have with them. The third question was, can they hurt me? To a certain degree, that is possible. And it's usually if they are at a lower ascension. The fourth question, are the dead suffering? Some of them are. Some of them are in great suffering. And today we're going to help them, or whoever you're bringing on board, helping them ascend. And so they don't have to be in this state of suffering. And the last question was, can we help the dead end their suffering? So the answer is yes, and we are going to do that today. A little fairy just showed up. We're going to do that today as we go through this process of helping the dead ascend. But first, we're going to run through the process of running your energy so that we can all be clear. And then you'll be able to tell the difference between your energies and the energies of dead people. So I want you to think of someone that has crossed over. And this will even work for those who are listening to this out into the future. And I want to just measure before we get started how many dead people we're going to be helping to ascend today. First, how many of you are channeling dead people, like they're actually in your energy field? I'm getting 15. So that's great that you're here today so we can help these ascend. And the second question I wanted to ask is, how many of these are just in our energy field? So let's see what that number is. About 30. So we're going to have about 30 people that we're going to be helping to ascend, and we're going to be taking about 15 of these discarnate beings out of your energy field. It's actually a very easy and simple process. Let me just adjust. It's like a big mirror here. Okay, great. All right. So first of all, you can do this either with your eyes closed, or you can just follow along with my voice, or you can do this with eyes open. So I want you to first put down a brand new grounding cord in present time. So this is going from the base of your spine all the way to the center of the planet. And you make this like a big pipe so it can accommodate all the energies that you're releasing. There we go. All the way down to the center of our hollow earth. And then we're going to back up a little bit because this is so new that I always forget. We're going to go up to our heart. And we're going to start activating the capacity of our heart to self-generate love. And we're going to start opening, expanding, brightening that illumination in our heart. Let that expand and grow. And then we're going to ground our heart. So we're going to bring that energy down into the solar plexus. And down, so it's stopping right at the solar plexus. Oh my goodness! That was funny. Okay, so hang on. Hang on a second. Hang on. Okay, there. So before we get started again, before these discarnate beings, they're all creating a ruckus here. So this is kind of spooky, right? It's going back and forth like, woo, as I'm floating. All right, so are we gonna calm down? Calm down. Everybody's getting all excited now. Okay, so we've got our grounding cord all the way to the center of the planet. Great. And we're bringing our heart energy from the heart down into the solar plexus. There we go. Down into the second chakra. Spilling down the root. Okay, great. And so now that heart, that luminous heart, is connected to the center of our earth. So let that connect, grounding your heart energy. Okay, great. Now we're going to imagine roots going down from the bottoms of our feet, and it's going to go deep into our planet Earth. Deep into our planet Earth, we're going to connect with that intelligent communication layer in our Earth, the mycelium, the mushrooms, all of the roots that communicate with each other. There's this highly intelligent communication system. So allow your roots to connect and mingle with all of that entire root system that goes completely around the whole planet. There's about 4,000 miles of Earth's crust that we're going to mingle with all of these roots. Great. And then the third and final part to getting ultra grounded is we're going to pull in our worry circle. It's out to the third layer. So let's pull in this circle of energy that causes us to be afraid to step into our power. Okay, great. Now we're going to connect with pure source energy above our crown. And we're going to start bringing that into our creative rings that come into the crown. Bring that energy into the crown, down through the central core, through that sixth chakra, down through the throat. It's stopping right at the throat. And this would make sense because many of you are wanting to establish a better communication with those who have crossed over. Let's go out to the third layer, and we're going to clear this energy that's preventing you to step into the power of your voice, the power of your communication. And so this is not just your voice. This also relates to being able to communicate with those who have crossed over, to communicate silently with our animals, to communicate silently with other people through our telepaths. There's far more going on here at the throat than just our voice. Okay, great. So now we're bringing pure source down through throat into the heart where it's stopping. Out to the third layer. Let's pull this energy in so that we don't have any self-judgments. That question about your father, being uncomfortable about the fact that your father might be watching you makes me think that there's still energies of judgment that are being held at the heart. So let's pull all of that in. Otherwise, you wouldn't care. Send that down the grounding. Excellent. Okay, so we're bringing pure source down through the central core, down through the heart and the solar plexus, second chakra, spilling down the root, Okay, and so now we're going to mix these two energies, the earth energy coming up through the legs with pure source. I think maybe we forgot that part where we connected with the roots, but did we bring the energy up through the legs? We didn't. So we're backing up a hair here. Up through the legs. We want to be deeply connected to our earth. Through the legs and then down that grounding. Great. We want to be deeply, deeply connected to our planet Earth so that we can accommodate all the energies that want to come in through our tree. So as we're bringing this energy, mixing these two energies, we're going to bring this energy, pure source coming down the backside with the earth energy coming up the legs. We're going to bring that up through the second chakra, up through the second chakra, up through the solar plexus and the heart and the throat where it's stopping again. Let's go out to that third layer and we're going to pull that in. And so as we're pulling this energy up through the solar plexus, through the heart, through the throat, sixth chakra, crown, through all of your rings, and then down through all the layers of your aura. The aura looks really clear. That's nice. At least as a general. When we go to check for dead people, that might be a different story. The last part of running your energy is clearing your circle of reciprocity. So we're going to bring the energy from the upper four chakras, so the heart, throat, sixth, crown, and all of your rings. We're going to bring all of that energy out that right arm as you give out into the world. And then we're going to bring that energy up your left hand, left arm. So it's blocked right at that left hand. You want to be able to receive all the messages that are coming in. And Bringing that down. So it's coming through the front and back of the heart. So it's kind of stopping at the heart. Let's let this energy stir in the heart and clear any judgments or however you're judging, maybe your communication with the dead, or I don't know, whatever you're judging yourself with. There we go. Great. Through the throat, through that sixth chakra, through the crown, through all of the rings. Okay, great. So there's another comment here about dead people, which is, oops, that's not what I meant to, but that's a great one. So for those of you who want to continue this practice that we do here every week, this process called running your energy, here's the link, so you can be sure to do this on a daily basis. Like, we can clear energies here, but if you really want to help yourself, that's what being empowered is all about, for you to practice this practice every single day so that you can maintain what we do here. And so that's a really great thing. And then here's a comment about the dead people that I wanted to talk about people, that how they throw things and turn off things and turn on things. And so once you kind of know that the dead can't really hurt you, and that the fears are things that we conjure up in our own mind, that you'll realize that a lot of this stuff, throwing things, turning lights on, moving things, is just them being curious and bored and maybe just trying to have some fun. What a boring life, right? They don't have a body anymore. And if they're stuck in the lower vibrations, it's not a good place. So they get bored. And so they do things like these. But it can't hurt you. And once you start being a little more amused by it and less fearful, it would be a lot better. And then once you know you have dead people in your house, you can help them to ascend. Okay, great. And Roma, if you could also post the upcoming program that we're going to be running starting in just 11 days. If you enjoy this process, running your energy, we're going to be doing it every day for 21 days, minus the weekend. That's a day to integrate. And it's a very, very powerful process that you come with a specific intention. And then we use these 21 days. I'm in the background, just like I do here, and I'm looking for energies and specifically clearing all the energies in this group that gets together. And it's a very powerful experience. Every day builds on the next. So by the end of 21 days, you are a different person. So I hope you'll be joining us for that. That's going to be coming up. And there's a couple programs, bonuses that you can get started on today if you wanted to join early and get a head start on things. So those two programs, one is designed to help you eliminate fear and anger, and then the other one is designed to help you raise your money vibration. So we're going to be working on all kinds of things. The theme for this month is amplifying our light quotient. So it's going to be all about illuminating, finding more and more of our radiance and brilliance. And the way to do that is to eliminate the things that are bringing our vibration down. So that's going to be specific to each one of you. It's a very powerful experience, so I hope you'll be joining us for that. So, getting back to dead people. Let's see where these dead people are and how easy and simple it is for you to be able to eliminate these. So I was just double checking to see if any of these discarnate beings left during the process of what we just did, running our energy. They are all still here. So let me see where they are, and then I'll tell you what you're going to do to eliminate these. So number 1, let's see, 7, in our 6th chakra, out to that 3rd layer. So a lot of them feel very powerless without a body. So those are a lot of the beliefs that come through here that relate to feeling powerless. In the heart is another place. Out to that 15th layer. So this is that 1% energy. The energy that relates to how the 1% doesn't want us to activate our heart, to access our infinite intelligence. They always want to pull us out of our heart, out of our core, because they know that this is where our power lies, in our heart. And love is kryptonite to the 1%. So they want to try and disable our heart as much as possible. So some of these beings are operating and acting like the 1% in the heart. And then in the root chakra, out to that 3rd layer, where many of them feel they felt powerless. I have a little tickle right there. Oh, hang on. They felt powerless in their lifetime, and they're continuing to feel powerless even though they've crossed over. They have no body, they feel powerless. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to help people first leave your energy field. You can't help them ascend until we get them out of your energy field. So that's what we're doing first. So I want you to imagine a black flame, which is pure darkness, in your 6th chakra, so behind your forehead. We're going to put one in the heart, in our heart chakra, and then right at the base of our spine. I'll use a little light language here. I can feel that wanting to come through to help amplify this. So go ahead and use that black flame, turn up that flame, and we're just going to transmute the attachments in these chakras. So go ahead. E oe nai kea tua pepe na kea iyo tua ina popoeta tea. Ke iyo kono oia e te tea ke kua me ae tua ke kea. Oi nai ke ai o toko ai o kini a oia te tea. Okay, let's see how many. There was only 3 places, but let's see how many dead people are left in your energy field or in your physical body. There's still 3 left, so let's see where they are. Still in the 6th chakra. And so this is the beauty of using the infinity system, is that we measure. Now, that could have been a process that maybe somebody could just use, but if you're not measuring, you don't know if you got it all the way. So that's the beauty of the infinity system outlined in my book, Access to Your Ultimate Power, The Blueprint to Infinite Intelligence, available on Amazon. So in the 6th chakra, 6, heart. In the 6th, it's going all the way out to the 15th layer, which is the 1% beliefs. And in the heart, 3rd layer, a lot of self-judgments. So this could be a relative that maybe is still judging you. So that's a potential possibility as well. At the solar plexus, we didn't check that before, but that's showing up now. 3, out to that 3rd layer. This would be a being that would be diminishing your power, your ability to do things and get things done. Maybe they were depressed. Okay, so those 3 places now. So we're going to use the black flame again. 6th chakra, heart, solar plexus. Go ahead and turn up the volume. O oia e ne ko kwame pitai ko na iyo ko nu atia e una pepe etika ko yana e ko ko. Okay, so that cleared all the discarnate beings out of your physical body. Let's see if there are any in your aura. There are not. So now we can help them ascend. So what I'm going to do, since there's so many of them, we're going to create an avatar for them. And an avatar just means it's like the image of a body of a person. And this is how we create all kinds of things. And today we're going to be using it to help dead people ascend. So we're going to use this avatar, and the avatar is something that you run energy through just like you do your own physical body. So to help them ascend, first we're going to determine what level they're at. So then you can get an idea of the kinds of influence that's been affecting you, maybe without your even knowing it. So let's see. This had a minus 30, so a lot of dark beings. So this will be something that you will really notice the difference of if we hadn't done this or now that we've done it. Notice in your energy field how you might have more energy, how you may be less judgmental of yourself, how you may be less thinking like that 1% slavery energy. So in order to help them ascend, because they're at a minus 30, we're going to see where the energy is in this avatar that needs to get cleared, and it's representing where these beings are collectively. So I'm only getting in the root chakra out to the third layer. So they're all starting to thank me because they can feel and they're ready for this. This is them feeling powerless to take a next step. Like a lot of them don't know that they could take a next step, and a lot of them are afraid. So we're going to pull in this energy of the avatar, this worry circle that goes out to the third layer, with the intention of helping them release the fear that they're holding. There it's going. Oi, ai e ke no ape kita o ya na e ya te o ania ke o. Okay, great. So they were all ready to go. And so by remeasuring using the infinity system, they are now all at a plus 30. So that means they have all ascended. So this is going to be a great way to step into this Halloween weekend so that you can have fun and not be afraid of dead people. Now you know how to release them. Now you know how to help them ascend. And hope you have a fun and happy Halloween. Here's a question from Danielle. I feel my grandfather and seem to get a lot of judgment on my boyfriend. Well, notice if there's less judgment now because he has ascended. And so maybe there will be less judgments about that. And maybe he'll have some supportive information for you because now he can communicate with you in a much more supportive way. Yes, she's going to go buy my book. Absolutely. You will be greatly benefited by doing so. And you'll be able to follow along a lot easier here when you come back every week to join us for another MediClearing. So, and also, yes, please join us for, if you're also, join us on Instagram so that you can have another platform. Sometimes this platform is down. Sometimes it's not as clear. There's interference. So join me on Instagram, trying to build a platform there again after having been deplatformed. And it would be really helpful for you to join there and help support me there as well. Please tell your friends and family, share, like, subscribe, click those bell notifications so you don't miss a thing. Happy Halloween, and I hope you enjoy your day and weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday to answer your specific questions. Namaste. Happy Halloween, Dia de Muerto. Where's the, oh, there we go.